Welcome to Beyond the Buzzer.
Hi, I'm Josh, and this is my best friend Kyle.
You might recognize us. We are rural American high school athletes from the 90s, after all.
And we're here again on camera after 30 years to bring you our travels from
Beyond the Buzzer.
Hey, everybody, this is Josh. I'm here with my best friend Kyle, and we are going to talk today about Rex Valley Day and how to have a proper Rex Valley Day.
And where does the name Rex Valley Day come from, you may ask? Well, of course, we're talking about Rex Manning Day from the 1995 cult classic Empire Records.
Empire Records is a movie we highly suggest seeing if you haven't had the chance. But today we got to keep on moving and talk about our adventures up here.
Yeah, so we are in Nova Scotia. Where else would we be? I mean, but we're going to explore wine country, actually.
In Canada.
Wine country, Nova Scotia, Canada. I mean, first thing everybody thinks of.
Yep. And everybody's probably wondering, like, why the hell are we here? Well, I don't know why the hell I'm here. After my senior season, when Kyle and I parted ways, it didn't make it long in the South before I started bouncing back and forth between the Pacific Northwest and New England, and landed in Nova Scotia here in 2019, where we've made a home. And it's a pretty good place. I thought it was worthy of sharing with my buddies, so I called a couple of them and asked them if they wanted to come up, and had the pleasure of hosting Kyle a couple times this summer, and I think he's having fun so far.
Oh yeah, definitely having a blast. Definitely different than what I expected, but yeah, totally enjoyed it. Now, as for myself, I stayed close to the Kentucky region. I did venture up to St. Louis for chiropractic school for a few years, but I now reside in Louisville, Kentucky, and that's how you say it, Louisville, for anybody that's on the fence. That's the correct pronunciation.
No, they DeVille for short. We a lot of people getting into DeVille, but as you guys that know that live in the South or live in places closer to the equator than Nova Scotia, can get quite unpleasant during the summertime. So I thought this would be a good time to come up here and escape Louisville.
Yes, so it was close to 100 degrees when I left, with 100% humidity.
For the rest of the world, that's over 40 degrees Celsius.
Yes. So yeah. Yes. For all our non-American friends that use a metric system, which is everybody. So I came up here to escape the heat in more ways than one, actually.
So he has a story and we've been sharing this as we're making our rounds around the province. But so what do you mean by the heat in more ways than one?
Well, as I mentioned, I went to chiropractic school, so I was working in a chiropractic office on Broadway in Louisville, and about 2 weeks ago, I believe, on two separate occasions, once on a Monday and once on a Wednesday, we had someone show up with a gun and threaten our whole office. So we don't have not just the heat of the temperature, but also the heat people are packing to their doctor's offices because,
So Kyle, is this the first time you've dealt with an active shooter this summer down in DeVille?
Well, Josh, actually, no, it's not. This was the first personal one that actually came in the office, but you don't get into the chiropractic game without expecting, some gunfights. But we also had, it was actually pretty significant tragedy in Louisville. We had a big bank shooting, and we were able to watch a lot of the police response right out of our window. Saw them pull over a huge semi, get the driver out, and actually use the semi as cover. So they're coming around the side, the big guns that most of us don't have.
No, he's sending pictures to me in live action. So I was like, Kyle, we're going to go over to the valley. Everybody in Nova Scotia, there's lots of different regions, but there's a valley. It took me a little while to figure where that was and what to do. But it's like, and the chances of us having any of those incidents over there in the valley are slim to none. So come up here, beat the heat, and let's take a look. Let's see what's going out there. So
you have some unexpected time off. Why not plan a good Rex Valley Day?
And it's highly recommended. I've done it just a few times. I was able to show my oldest daughter when she came up here the Rex Valley Day, and she enjoyed it. So we're basically repeating that run here. So with every Rex Valley day, or with any day really, when you wake up, you're going to have coffee. And so,
Right. So we're going to switch. So bear with me on the technology because, well, I'm old. I don't like new things very much.
and I dropped my phone in the bathtub a couple days before Kyle got here, so my GPS wasn't working. So it took us a little longer to get over to the valley than usual from where I live. But about an hour we pulled in, and when you come in from the north side, I think that's the best way to approach Wolfville is where the town that we're centered around. And I love this place. It's a coffee roaster, and they're not too old. Got started not too long ago, but they're a fair trade coffee company, so you can feel great about having a cup of coffee from them.
Nice, nice. And it was quite good. And we also grabbed a scone
Yes,
to go with our coffee to get our day going.
because biscuits and scones. There's a little bit of a debate as we travel, and we'll talk more about those things. But Kyle got, I think, a cinnamon one. I got the zucchini one, and we knew we were going to be snacking all day, so we didn't want to go for a big breakfast. And then we shot down the road through Wolfville to the other side and came out, and so he was able to see the main streets, the places we were going to come back later. The first place I wanted to take him was a place my buddy took me a few weeks ago, and it's just called simply the Lookout. That's beautiful. I don't know how many feet we're up over the ocean here, but we're on the Bay of Fundy side of Nova Scotia. I'll just throw a couple fun facts out there about that. So Fundy's interesting. It's the highest tides in the world, in the entire world, and it's kind of squeezed into the two provinces. So it's basically a gutter, and when the flood comes up, the tide really rose in, and to the extent of 52 feet, or for the rest of you guys, 16 meters. And so that's like a 5-story building every day that we're going up and down.
Insane. It's just hard to even fathom.
Now we're not in shape right now, so we're not much of a paddlers, but if we were, we would have rented kayaks and gone out there, and you can kayak around the top of islands. It's part of the day, and then drops down to the seafloor. But you can see that you're seeing Fundy here. Hard to make it on the pictures, but you can see where it comes in and out and where the basins are, and it's an impressive force of nature.
It is, and we're going to get into some more pictures here on another little area called Scotts Bay, which I think is coming up.
And that's a good place to see. It's kind of the end of Fundy, the back of Fundy, one of the bays it comes back into. Again, I had a local guy bring me over there and put me on the spot, or I wouldn't have found it. But what's interesting about this valley, which we're going to talk about all day today, is a rich, fertile soil that comes in from this tidal pool. And this place is a really old geographical place. And so this rich sediment from the sea floor has been dumping there forever. And it's kind of squeezed between a couple small mountain ranges, protects it from the Atlantic, and gives us a unique climate where you can literally throw a seed and grow anything over here.
Hence the wine country.
No, it's and the apples, the blueberries. It's a fun place.
So this picture here, this is the Scotts Bay, like we were just mentioning. And what's really cool, all this area that we walked on today, or you can see all the rocks and everything, 12 hours a day is the ocean floor.
Yes, and
up to about 50 feet deep.
And we walked out. What did we walk out? Maybe 150 yards or something that, and it was out a ways further. And could one thing I don't think we have it on the pictures, the old wooden wharf that was basically buried there. So like the ship guys would come in, tie up to the wharf, and then they would have to go all the way back out. So if they missed the tides, they were in trouble. And it was, beaching the boats was the way to go. And I'll throw in just a brief bit of pirate history, because that was our mascot in high school. Yes, there,
we are former pirates.
We are. So I think we're still pirates. I think we're still
always
pirates for life. But yeah, it's interesting. The pirates from the Caribbean would come up here in their boats, and they would bring them up these big tidal places, and they would park them, let the tide go out, and then that's where they would do their ship repair. So there's some good pirate lore we might be able to talk about sometime up here.
Yeah. The pirates in Western Kentucky, they repaired their boats a little differently, but we'll get into that another day.
Because there's not much ocean there.
So, so after taking in some of the views and getting our caffeine fix and getting on the road, I mean, what else to do but try some wine?
You got to start. That's what we're there to do. It's right. So I wanted to take Kyle to one of my very favorite wineries, my favorite winery actually in the valley. It's called Planters Ridge.
And here's a menu coming up here, so you can see.
It's awesome. They've redone like a 150-year-old barn, and so we're sitting in there, and we were the first ones there, and we told the
crazy enough, at 11 o'clock in the morning, we were the only people there drinking wine
on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday,
and so it's impressive, but we talked about this, but we had one of the best I guess wine guides is
Yeah.
what you would call them when we came in, and it was very informative about the different stuff that we're doing. So we both got suggested flights, and I guess we can kind of walk you through the flights we chose, and we're not.
But remember, we weren't day drinking.
No.
We found out that the morning is when your palate is the most sensitive. So we were taking advantage of our palates.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we just had coffee, scone, and washed it away with water, and that'd been a couple hours ago. So our palate's fresh, ready to taste
Yeah,
these
we
different
wanted
flavors.
to get all that we could from these wines.
We did it on purpose. That's the way. That's the way we're gonna go.
All right. So yeah, so let's get into, of course, we both decided to do a flight because we wanted to experience all that we could. So here's the first one. This was my flight here. I went red.
Yep.
I'm more not a big wine guy, but when I do go, I'm more of a red type.
Yeah, and I just did the white so we could counterbalance those and we could share them and taste six different ones while we were there. And of course, we wanted to stay longer, but we knew that if we wanted to see more things, we are going to have to keep on going. So
Right. We couldn't use all of our palate in one place. We had to spread it out as much as we could. So here was my red flight, and you can see some of the descriptions here. And feel free to go back and pause the video if you really want to read them in depth.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, out of these three, my personal favorite was the one in the middle, the Heritage Red. They were all fantastic, but that one was highly recommend. Highly recommend. It's very, very good. So here's the flight that Josh had.
Yeah.
He went with the whites,
and we got a little bit more of a tour on that. Just I think because she happened to walk over to where we had those. We got some more descriptions, but the first one I have is called a Lackady, and then the second one's a Tidal Bay. Those are both 2022, and then I got a Riesling, which is my favorite. But so the Lackady, we're actually in Acadia. That's the French name for the region that we're in, as the British and French traded who was in charge over here over the years. So Lackady is some kind of play on the word Acadia, I guess.
Yeah, they Frenched it up a little.
Yes. So, do you want to talk about where that one came from? Do you remember what she was saying about that?
That is the one from Niagara. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So that is a grape that they attempted to grow around the Niagara Falls region in New York, and the climate just didn't work. It was too warm.
No.
So they brought them up here. They were actually still they didn't even have a name. They were still like a number letter combination code,
like a scientific code or something.
Scientific stuff.
Yeah.
But they brought them up here to Nova Scotia, and they took to the climate and started growing. So that is their signature grape. Would you say
signature white grape? They say
signature white grape
so
of Nova Scotia.
It's unique to hear in like a combination of different genetics to get this one. So it's new to hear. The reason I got it on the flight because it said it tasted like fresh cut grass. I didn't find that, but it was very, very good. It was lovely. But it is an important grape because once they found out that region was going to produce, I think it was like in the early 70s, don't quote me, but I think 73, they opened Grand Prix Winery. It's one of the flagships in the region. We didn't have a chance to go there, but they've been there since the early 70s growing, and they're actually part of a UNESCO World Heritage site in the region. And our wine guide told us, we were asking how many wineries are in the area. And she gave us the number 12. I know there could be more smaller ones, but there's thousands of small farms around
we didn't
there,
count. So. We just took our word for it.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, here's some more pictures of their, here's the deck view with some of their vineyards out in the back. Now, one thing I thought was really cool, and again, I'm no wine person, so maybe it's just cool to me, but this place actually, each different wine was in their own tank, and each tank was temperature controlled separately.
Yes.
And
that's not a cheap process.
Not cheap. And I don't know if it makes a difference in the flavor, but those wines were fantastic.
It's my favorite one. And they're good throughout the region. But the reason I come back to this one is one of the other things I had on the flight was Tidal Bay. We'll talk about that more when we go to our next winery. But the Riesling there in Germany, Riesling's is really popular. It's a grape mainly from Germany. It's always really, really sweet, but this guy's got it off dry, and it's really clean. You had to taste it; it's like water. I mean, it's dangerous good.
So, yeah, it's one you could drink way too much of on accident.
Yeah,
very easily.
But that was let me get some more pictures a little bit.
So here's the inside. It's almost like an old farmhouse, and but you can see it's very, Very nice.
They have their little things here, and
yeah, and we'll post a link to their website in the description of this video if you want to check it out. And
absolutely
get a little more detail.
And cool. I've never taken advantage of this, but there is they fixed up like an late 1800s farmhouse, and it's a 3-bedroom. So if you did want to stay, there's an option to stay, and I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, that way you can
peaceful.
drink as much wine as you want to and just walk to your room.
That's easy.
It's the dream. Right?
Almost could have done that day. but other stuff we learned being there. They had a bunch of nets on their winery. We could kind of see them in the last picture, but bird problem, bad winter last year killed some grapes, and not every year is the greatest harvest, but they've got enough stockpile to think they can keep going. But yeah, they use different things to scare the birds away. Yeah. And
so basically, if you're in the wine industry, birds are assholes.
Yeah, don't mess with them.
I think that's the safest thing to say.
And
here's Josh and I enjoying the last of our flights outside on the patio.
And last thing to say about before we move on from Planters Ridge, first time Kyle's over to the region, and where him and I are from in the Ohio River Valley. The soil's black, it's lush, it's very fertile, but the stuff here is clay and sandy, and it reminded us of seeing the seafloor. And he actually got to pick it up and check it out.
Yeah, and it's real grainy and sandy and
drains well, I guess.
Drains well, and apparently grapes love it.
Yes, so we that's our that was probably our most educational trip to the wineries that time. So Planters Ridge, it's small.
So again, here's a quick shot of their website. Nice. If you guys want to go and check them out, again, we'll post that link in the description if you guys want to check them out. And I highly recommend it because they're very good.
So yeah, we're not far down the road now. We just pull out, take a left out of the driveway, and we're a couple houses down. We pull into the right, and we're at how do you pronounce it?
A fromagerie.
A fromagerie, and here it is. And so this is
our scones had started to wear off a bit, so we decided to refuel with some gelato.
And then I've only been here a couple times as well, and wanted Kyle to check it out, especially since it's next to Planters Ridge. But their gelato is fantastic. I highly recommend the blackberry lemon combination.
Now, and here it is in hand. I myself went with the maple and chocolate, and I was not disappointed. Both were excellent.
So the name of this place is Fox Hill Cheese House. They're like a 6th generation farm or whatever, and they do everything farm to table. And actually,
their cows are there on site. They actually make the cheese inside, but they just didn't happen to be making it that day we were there.
Yep.
But you can watch the whole process of how they make the different kinds of cheese and stuff. And I believe we actually have one of their cheeses here, do we not?
Grab this really fast. So Kyle, what's the name of this one? This is Work.
So we're going to bring it back up to full screen so you can see us. We are going to try, this is Quark cheese. That's Quark.
It's from Fox Hill. You probably cannot see that. So it's like a combination of like regatta or cream cheese. I don't know.
Yeah.
You go first, my friend.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I've never had it, so
we thought we'd try it live on camera. So we didn't buy any other cheese there. I have gotten some other stuff in the past, but we're going to be driving around without much ice to keep stuff cool, so we kept this in the back of the truck.
There we go. I don't know if you can see. It looks like there's maybe some chives and stuff in there.
Garlic. It's fantastic. It's creamy. There's a ton of flavor. The texture's great.
Yeah, it's really good. Really, it does kind of have the consistency of like ricotta cheese, I would say.
But good to eat. But good as easy as a spread or a dip, I think, is the way to go with this one. So we'll table that one until we get off our episode, and then we're going to finish the entire thing, I'm sure. Well, that was a quick trip, and it's beautiful. They've got a little gazebo out front. Great place for the kids with if you bring in the gelatos and everything else. I don't know if we have their
yeah, here's a shot of their website. Let's see if you guys want to hop on there and take a look and see everything they offer. Yep. But great little place, very friendly.
Don't miss it if you're close to Planters Ridge.
Definitely worth a stop.
And if you're loading up for a day and you're able to stay over there and stuff, and you're doing the wine and cheeses all weekend there, that's where you go.
Definitely. So then next we took off to Luckett Vineyards, which was absolutely gorgeous.
It's straight out of California.
Yeah, I can only imagine how many weddings and events and stuff are at this place, because it was
So
fantastic.
so cool local legend on this. There's a guy named Pete who opened Pete's Frutique. I think he was a British guy, lived down there in the valley and started like a specialty grocery store because when he had got to Canada, I don't think he had seen missed some of the stuff, I guess, from back in Europe and wanted to bring in the, fruits and veggies and meats and cheeses and on the imports from around the world. And so Pete sold out. When he didn't sell out, he was lucky to sell to Sobeys Grocery in 2015. And so you can tell this place doesn't have to worry about sparing any change on what they're doing over there.
Yes,
And
yes, and we're going to get into another picture here in just a second. The landscaping was pretty immaculate.
So this is where we decide we're going to pull up for lunch because you can see the vase of fundy really nice behind it. The red barns. It's for views. This is where you want to go, and of course the wine store and the food and everything else is fantastic too. But
and there's some of that landscaping that area there with the orange tops and the bushes you can actually walk through.
It's like a little private garden.
Yeah, a little private, very small private garden, and it was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, there people had the tent set up out back a little bit, getting the weddings going. There we go.
They also have the red British phone booth.
So I guess that's from Pete's heritage there, but we talk more about those phone booths as our journeys continue.
Yeah, we have seen those in other places, and those will be for a later episode.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
But fun day and just winding all behind the town of Wolfville, back and forth all day, and just it's a pleasant drive.
So this here, let me tell you about this chowder and how good it was. I don't know if I can describe it. There is so much stuff in it, and this is true. When the menu came out, I thought you had to pick. It was like a choice, like, do you want this or this or this? And Josh like, no, that's all in there.
No, you get the lobster and the scallops and the mussels,
lobster, scallops,
the fish, whatever else,
cheese. And then you get. I believe the girl actually called it a biscuit.
I think that one was a biscuit this time. But
with the butter you can see on the side, but
so creamy and so filling. And if you're just popping around the valley doing snacks like us and not doing a big heavy meal so you can keep on moving, this is the way to go. I've been there once before for the chowder, suggested it to him, and he confirmed my belief that some of the best stuff that you can get over there.
And then we took suggestions from the waitress of which wines to pair with the chowder. Of course, we both went with a white. Yep. Josh went with a Riesling.
I love them. It's a little different Riesling over there, but it's a Riesling. And
then I went with the Tidal Bay, which we mentioned that earlier. Josh had a Tidal Bay at the other place, but the Tidal Bay around here, it's the signature wine of the region, right? So every place has their own take on it,
right?
It's made from a variety of grapes, and the way that it was explained to us, it made a lot of sense. It's like going somewhere and ordering lasagna. Everywhere might use some of the same ingredients, but it's all going to have a little bit of a different taste.
Chef's going to cook it up different, and
that's the same deal with this wine. And this was probably the best one of the bunch of the Tidal Bays.
They're famous for it, and
it was very good.
The thing about those is they're all over the stores and stuff, but I don't know how to explain this, but it's a signature wine for the region, just like Chardonnay would be from Chardonnay France, or the Riesling maybe would be from Germany, or Chianti would be from Italy, or different things. And so this
it could be comparable, to some of our Kentucky folks for like a regional bourbon,
right? And bourbon had rules too, and
so they've got strict rules they had to follow for it to qualify as that drink, but it's not exactly the same everywhere.
Well, unfortunately, they've made the rules where bourbon can't escape and be made outside of Kentucky. So we'll debate that at another episode.
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, great place. Again, I believe we've got their website here if you guys want to take a look. Luckett Vineyards.
If you're getting married in Nova Scotia,
highly recommend. You'll definitely get some pictures in front of the phone booth.
And the service was fantastic. People were in and out all day. It was.
I have to say, just in general, all the service in Canada is fantastic.
Yeah, they're great.
I know a lot of my fellow Americans know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
some of the service there isn't always so friendly.
They're famously nice in the Maritimes, and it's a true thing, and you can't believe it till you get here. But
that's actually I guess you could say a positive stereotype.
Absolutely a positive stereotype.
Very, very friendly up here. I've enjoyed everybody I've met. Yeah. So our next stop after we left Luckett with our bellies full of chowder, we went to Benjamin Bridge, which was also absolutely gorgeous.
So this is a big one. There's a couple big ones over there, like I talked about Grand Prix. There's the Lightfoot Brewery has come up, and it's huge too. And And I just want to touch back on this for a second. All of these wineries are new. I had buddies that went to school over at the University of Acadia, close to there, and none of this stuff was there in the '90s. The Grand Prix from '73, but this is it shows how quickly ecotourism can catch on and go.
All of these we went to are within the last 10 years, right?
Yeah, most of them.
10 years or less,
and the other places we'll talk about later as well. But so I love Benjamin Bridge. It's set differently. It's in what we would call in Kentucky a holler. Up here, it's just two ridge lines that come back, and you're deep in the different section of the valley, not seeing Fundy, but lush and beautiful, and just a great spot. So we came right out here. This is us. We're right outside. As soon as we get there, we had another flight.
So then we went in and took a peek at some of their barrels, and I actually shipped the barrels over from France to store this wine in, which was kind of neat.
And they're ginormous. I don't know what these concrete things are, but they're awesome.
Those are called wine eggs, and that's where the wine hatches from.
So of course.
I don't know how you didn't know that.
I don't know. I've missed that one. I thought Mork and Mindy maybe be coming out of one soon, but it's no, but we didn't talk to a whole lot of people there. The girl was outside, was taking care of us, was absolutely lovely. But at this point, we're just enjoying the views and wanting to actually get through a couple of our rounds so we can walk around through the vineyards and check out the vineyards. So
this was my flight here, and the Benjamin Bridge, they actually specialize in sparkling wines. So a lot of what that means is a lot of these are going to be a little bit bubbly.
Yes.
But they were all fantastic. And they also, if you go from left to the right, if you can see, so starting with the Brut and going towards the Cabernet, they line them up from the least dry to the driest. The Brut, I heard him say that in the background. The Brut was phenomenal. And like I said, I'm normally a red wine guy, but when I'm a wine guy on the rare occasion. But that Brut was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
So this was fun. So I got something I've never even heard of before. It was called Pat Nat. I think there's a longer name to that if you want to zoom in on the description, but it's a grape that kind of takes care of itself. All they do.
So here's Josh's flight here that he's talking about.
All they do there is they put it in a bottle in a can. The grape goes to work for itself, and it's a natural sparkling wine. And I guess that's a kind of an old world thing. It had a unique flavor. I enjoyed it, but it was not as light and crisp as what some of the other stuff that we had that day. I don't know what to say. That I told Kyle this is a crazy description, but I was at a cidery in Vermont once, and they described one of their ciders as horse blanket. And I don't know why that came through, but I thought horse blanket when I drank this one. But I'm not telling you that to steer away from it. It's just it's got some.
You guys feel free to use that expression.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a, I don't know, just a musty good flavor to it.
There is one thing I would like to go back and add to the Brut that just really stood out to me was its coastal abundance of saline minerality.
That's true.
I mean, as soon as I tasted it, that was the first thought through my head.
I don't think Kyle and I are going to be writing descriptions anytime soon, but we were able to read through the coastal minerality.
And don't get a lot of coastal minerality in Kentucky.
Not where we're from. So it does come through. There is the seafood and the citrus and the ocean in the air. So it's
and if you can see there in the middle, I had another Tidal Bay. I think I tasted a Tidal Bay at all three. I think we tasted a Tidal Bay at all three places. Again, very good. Enjoyed all three of these wines. But the Brut was definitely my favorite.
What was the one on the end there?
That's the Cabernet Rosé.
Oh, cool.
It was the driest ones, and
color's pretty.
I don't. Maybe it was a little too dry for my taste, but it was still great. I enjoyed it.
So the next one, the middle one there is my Nova Scotia Rosé. I don't know what to say, rosé all day, like they say. So it was very enjoyable. And then I went back, of course, to my Riesling, and so it was fun to try 3 different Rieslings from 3 different wineries. Like I said, that I loved all of them. I have to say, Planters Ridge was the one I thought was the best. So.
But as good as the wine was, I believe this next discovery we made might have been the play of the day.
I think so. It was a surprise.
Well, first, that's my beautiful self.
Yes,
having the wine there. I forgot about that. But
such a pretty region.
But if you see right there in the middle, kind of the colored box, I just thought maybe it was just an advertisement sign.
I thought it was electric box because they paint the electric boxes around here. And it's like, what are they running electric out here for?
They just painted it up to, so it's not just a big gray eyesore. But as we got closer, we found out it is a vending machine for wine.
And we didn't have loonies and tunas on us, folks, which are
which is the Canadian coinage.
The Canadian coinage for the dollar and the $2. So we didn't, we weren't able to buy it with the debit card or anything else. But yeah, if you got coins and you want to sneak through the field at night, and man, back in the day when we were
could
underage,
you imagine being teenagers? I mean, when you were in your 20s and old enough to legally buy alcohol,
we would have been berry crawling in turkey
all you had
gear.
to do was go to a vending machine.
We'd have been in turkey gear, 3D, belly crawling out there. The only way this is before the invention of drones. They would have never found us. These machines would have been empty every night.
If you had a liquor vending machine in Kentucky, it would have to be fully guarded by armed guards 24 hours a day.
They'd have to keep it in the basement of Fort Knox. There's no way that would have existed. So we were impressed, and
especially if it was in downtown Heath.
Oh, downtown Heath is been tough. It is a heavily secure place either way.
That's true. That's true.
But this was cool, and this is the future, and what a fun thing, because most of these wineries just let you explore. I mean, there's 17 acres, 160 acres.
Well, and let's also point out the fact that this is wine in a can.
Yes, which is new to me.
Yeah, which is new. It doesn't taste bad.
No, it is. It actually. You
got to remember, a lot of these are sparkling, so there's that carbonation. So I guess
the tin, I don't know.
Can is not going to affect it.
It works. I was like, what, wine in a can? But I've had them a couple of times up here, and they're good. And so, come out there if you don't want to walk up to the thing. Here's a vending machine. Take off through the vineyard. Stay private. Stay away from the crowds. And there's a wine vending machine, folks.
There you go. The future is here.
So
again, here's the Benjamin Bridge website. Again, we'll put the links in the description. But yeah, definitely take a look. Very nice place. Great product. Great people.
Beautiful. And this sparkling, that makes it fun, especially on the summer sunny day. So, but that's not the all. There's so we hit 3 out of the 12 major ones there, and then we decided we're going to switch gears a little bit because the Valley has more to offer than just wines.
So then it was cider time.
Of course, we're going to keep with the alcohol theme, of course.
For the day where it's
it's a Rex Manning day, so
it is. Plus, I mean, again, our palates were at their apex, so we had to take advantage.
Go early. So with flights, they're the way to go.
Flights are one of my favorite things on this planet.
Yeah,
love them.
So I don't know what yours was called, but
yeah. So Josh went with the premium flight because he likes nice things.
I like nice things. Premium matches,
Premium. He jumped right on that. I just went. I guess that's maybe their everyday. It looks like they changed out the third one.
And they changed
sorry, the lights kind of blocked out some of the percentages, but they all had a little bit of a kick. I think the classic one that I had that was just blocked was the lowest one, and it was still over 5% alcohol.
And I remember all three of the rhubarb is a little sweet, the hot pear is a little sweet, but that crab rosé was absolutely great. And
we're going to show you the actual flights here on the next picture, so you can see what they look like. But one thing that was really unique, you notice in that fourth hole, it's not a number, it's not a cider. They actually give you a cup of corn nuts.
Oh, I thought it was genius.
Yeah, so you get a little snack, and it cleanses your palate between drinks. So, hey, American breweries, take a note here.
Take a note, yes.
Give us a little snack with
and it's great. It's not the mixed nuts on the bar that everybody's putting their hands in either. It's just
your own individual.
But that was fun. And I tell you, I think the Annapolis is a cool story. They're also new. 2016 is what I have notes on here. And they're one of the biggest cideries in Canada already. They say 50,000 visitors every year. And I go over there and apple pick every fall. The apples there's so many different varieties. I've learned so much about it. But this cidery, I've been to some good ones. This is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, it's very good. All of mine were good. Like I said, the reddish colored cider, that one I think was like 8 something percent alcohol. So it had a little kick to it, but still very, very fresh, very, very good taste on all of them. And I can't stress enough how awesome the corn nuts were. I don't know if I'm too excited about that.
No, my buddy that I went with,
that was just brilliant.
I had another buddy that went that was just the same way, and I love it too. So at this point we're parked. We're going to spend some time in town.
It's time to walk around. Well, here again, real quick, here's the website for Annapolis, the cider, if you want to check those out. But it was time to get back to what we were used to.
Yeah, but this is the right on the main drag in Wolfville, so hard to miss if you're through there.
It was time to get back to the basics. So
We
Just a
just
good old brewery.
and we probably needed to get back to our spiritual side at this little
Of
bit, and
course, yeah,
we're
we
ready
had
to.
we
So
decided to go to church on a Tuesday afternoon.
and it's the church is always open. They'll let anybody in, and so
Yeah.
we were welcomed right in. And this place is great. I mean, it's a
Phenomenal.
Presbyterian church in the 1840s or something, been in Wolfville forever, and again, just brand new. They started. I think they bought it 2017. Didn't even start pumping out beer to 2019. That's the year I got here. So
Yeah, and there'll be a few more pictures of the inside, but
Yeah.
we got to get to the important stuff first.
Absolutely.
Shockingly enough, we both got flights again.
Yes.
But we are going to talk about the type of beer we had. I was lucky enough to go to church on a Tuesday and find a beautiful blonde and fell in love.
Yes, it's where you
Oh.
mostly meet blondes or
I
in
mean,
church, and it was his favorite one. And it's
a blonde in church is a hard thing for me to pass up.
and she was simply named Church Blonde.
Church Blonde. Church Blonde.
Yeah.
5% alcohol, very smooth, very clean. Like I said, I was a huge fan.
I'll toggle these back and forth a little bit then,
Yeah,
if
go
you
ahead.
want to do that. Then I got the Married to the Sea, which is a German porter. Coffee, hazelnut, milk chocolate. But I don't know, for some reason I like starting on porters. I like getting the bass sound in there a little bit before I go up with those. And I just love this porter. There is the Married to the Sea, quite a bit of salt to it for a porter.
Mhm.
And goes along with that coastal minerality that we were
Yes,
talking
the
about.
coastal minerality. Can't stress enough how easily we both just recognize that taste.
Yeah.
And everything.
So there is a beer we didn't get while we were there, and things are with the stickers and the t-shirts and the regions today. Everybody loves their area code, and I
Right.
know I was down in Vermont. We were in the 802. They were super proud out in Portland, Oregon, the 503, and so up here in Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, we're at the 902.
The 902. Yes.
And
So they had a 902 IPA, which we are going to try for you right now on camera. Not because we love beer, but because we want to give you the best information possible.
And we were unable to pick this one up. We got sold out. The guy came in and bought two right before we got to him. Kyle went to get the shirt, and the shirts are sold out. So this is obviously something.
Well,
that's pretty
let's clarify.
right
They were sold out of fat guy sizes.
Yeah, well,
so
we're going to work on that. But
I
not
thought about
today.
getting a tank top, but decided against it.
No, I think you only have one tank top. That is a horrible pour by me, by the way. Our beer mugs are refreezing right now, so we're having.
Yeah, we had to have a practice beer before we started.
We're making
just to
we're making
pre-game warm-ups, if you will.
We're making do with these highballs here, which
so
I'm
going to maximize the screen here real quick. Again, bear with me on the technology because I'm old.
Cheers, my friend.
Here we go.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's very good.
It's super clean. Some IPAs are too
very
heavy.
Clean. Just kind of a touch of a citrusy taste, would you say?
It's citrusy, but it's not overbearing.
Yeah,
what's this?
Just enough.
Oh, it's a real IPA. It's 6.5.
Yeah, we've got it here on the menu.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 6.5%. So it's got a little bit of a kick to it.
They have listed juicy, which you're saying there with the citrus,
juicy,
right?
Okay. Yeah. So it's not citrusy, it's juicy. I apologize.
No, I think it goes well. I think it's the same. So juicy is what they're wanting, but soft. I like that description too.
Just a hint. Good. It's not overpowering, just enough to kind of it complements the beer flavor very well.
But then we had some more on there. So this is we will have to talk about Belgian beers in another episode, but
we're just going to touch on them and lay the foundation out. But Belgian beer, wow,
it's our favorite.
Wow. But yeah, so I had a Belgian white. It was called Silver Lining. About that 5% alcohol range.
Good session.
It had a little bit of an orange zest to it, some coriander, which are pretty common in some of those Belgian beers.
But I remember tasting that was a lot of coriander. It seemed like, but good.
Oh, so good. Yeah. I'm a big fan of everything Belgium does, from beer to waffles to chocolate.
Yes.
To girls in toboggans.
Yeah.
We'll
touch on another episode. That's not for Rex Valley Day.
That's coming later.
That's not Rex Valley Day.
So let's talk about. So let's talk about this one, because I didn't get. Wait, users. One more you got that I didn't. This one over here.
Yeah, this one. So
Neil, you did that one. You do that one.
Neil Young is a treasure of Canada. He grabbed onto our Southern music pretty quick and made it his own, but I think he was from Ontario and then made a life for himself out in California. I'm a big Neil Young fan. I fell in love with him moving up here, but I think he's pretty universal for everybody. But we have a Heart of Gold, which is
Yes.
perfect for a church beer. So this is an amber lager. I love lagers. I've got coming back to those. I've been drinking so many pale ales and so many IPAs over the years. Lagers, I think, are cold
You got to
filtered,
switch it up every now and then.
and it's a fun, and especially as we get more into the fall time, that's one I'm going to be going back to when I go over there.
Yeah. And I think so. The last one we're going to talk about, we actually both got.
Yes.
So it's called the Illuminate.
Illuminate pale ale.
I called it the Illuminati
And
because
it's close
it
enough.
sounded better to me, but whatever. But it's around that 5% alcohol range. It's a hazy, just a little bit of mango. So it's got again a little bit of that citrusy / juicy flavor.
Probably their signature beer, I would say. That's the
but,
ones that they know most about.
I thought they were all great. I have no complaints about any of the beers that I chose.
No, and they've got,
other than maybe I didn't have enough of them.
They've got this great logo with the stained glass up here, and I don't know if we got some pictures from. I know that showed that on the first picture when we started out from the outside.
Let's see.
And we sat outside. It's so nice outside.
Oh, it was gorgeous. Yeah. It's like 75 degrees.
Perfect.
If that.
Low 20s.
I don't know what that is in Celsius.
Low 20s.
Let Josh do the conversion.
Yes. I'm starting to learn.
So yeah, there's the inside. Of course, we had to make sure that we
bowed and prayed and honored, and you can see that.
Thanks to everything from the church.
So cool stuff. There's the stained glass window on the back, and something I told Kyle when he walked in is like, all Nova Scotia is just ocean, and it's just shipbuilders. People came here to fish and build ships and collect timber. And so I'm not sure they knew how to build houses, because everything I've walked in is just a ship upside down. And so if you can't see the roof,
you can't really see the roof, but yeah, it looked like an upside down ship.
It's just an upside down boat with the ribs on there. So cool to see the old architecture that the people brought over here.
That's and there might be some better pictures on their website, but
Absolutely.
I highly recommend checking it out. So again, there's their website. We'll post a link in the description if you guys want to take a look. But
did you say
definitely worth a visit if you make it up to the Nova Scotia area?
It's such a cool brewery, and the food's fantastic, and they have live music sometimes on the weekend. So good times at church always.
Yes, definitely. So
no, we so this at this point, Kyle and I were like, we gotta walk around for a little bit. We've had several flights for the day, and there's a local.
There was the drive home to think about.
Yes, and it's only 40 minutes, but we're responsible adults, and so we wanted to walk around for a few hours and go to some farm stores and do different things. And we didn't do as good on our pictures from this point on. I don't know why that would have been.
I can't imagine what happened.
What have changed there?
But yeah, so we did go over to Acadia University and walk through their garden, which was very nice. It's a very quaint little old school college town.
Just like if you're watching a college movie on TV, this is your campus. It's really small. There's a football team practicing across the street. Campus is just idyllic, and
the library is very prominent.
We used to with
covered in ivy.
It's so pretty, and
we just happened to be there. We were there the day before classes started, right? Yeah, so the students were out. I felt so bad. I wanted to give them an A for effort, but there were some guys trying to get a slip and slide going,
and it wasn't working.
No takers. No takers.
The music wasn't good. The guy that was spraying the water was, I think, scaring some people away. I don't know. But we went past that, walked past there, went through the gardens, and spent some time walking around. I got some notes here. This place was founded in like 1838. They've got about 4,000 students. I think it's a liberal arts college. But yeah, I've had a couple of friends go there. It's if you're looking for that quintessential college experience, you come up here and take a look. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, very, very cool.
And then not too far down the road is where you're starting to get into the pumpkin patches and the apple orchards and the you-pick blueberries and the farm stores. And so there's several in a row. Sterling's a good one we go to sometimes, but I usually end up at Henniger. And for the reason that they have apple cider slushies, and this is not the same cider we got at Annapolis. This is just your apple cider, but it is a treat.
They're pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed.
But these farm markets have been in the valley a lot longer. They're back from the 20s, and you can start seeing that culture. And even people that have had farms for years now, when we were driving around, we're starting to set up little stands outside. And I haven't spent a lot of time in California. I did in New England quite a bit. But if you've ever been through Vermont or some of the olive shops out in California, you can see all these little places to stop and buy food, and it's a really cute region. So you don't have to go there to drink wine. You don't have to go there for the cideries or the brew. There's plenty of stuff to do in the valley.
Be careful though if you buy a whole lot of green tomatoes because you
Yes.
might get a funny look from the cashier.
Yeah, we're from the South, lady. We like green tomatoes. They may
Yeah.
not do that up here, but they
I
could
think
not
she was a little
understand.
surprised at the amount we had, but then she heard us talk, and I think it made a lot more sense.
And then we ate them today with our chicken wings, and they were fantastic.
Phenomenal.
But I'll be back over there this fall to do some of the other more family friendly stuff. But they also have wine tours over there that you can go on and get the buses, and there's great Airbnbs. There's tidal board rafting on the Bay of Fundy. So when that huge waves coming in with the 50-foot tide every day, I see people out there whitewater rafting and kind of like going through those. We talked about the kayaking. And then just there is places to tube out there, and also mudslide. I see a lot of people in those you tell them about those little creeks that come in, how wild those are.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they were flowing through.
Yeah,
It'd be great for a natural lazy river.
a
You could
natural
say.
lazy river everywhere, and then in
Fantastic.
mudslides where it's up here at the one time and down here another time. And
But be sure to check out our next episode because we've got more to talk about here in Nova Scotia, and we're going to get a little more into being on the water because we actually went out on the
and
water.
that's the way to see this province, and it's lovely. We have like I said, Nova Scotia is broken up to several places. We have Cape Breton, we have the Halifax, we have the kind of the eastern seashore, the southern seashore, the valley. And so, the next place we're going to talk about a little bit more is the South Shore. Good beaches, cool old fishing villages, lobster farms, and stuff like that. And it's
believe it or not, more cool bars with
great.
cool beers,
and another place to go gather your dinner locally.
Yes.
So,
Oh yes, yes.
I don't know. I guess we're here to sign off for now. And
Yeah, we appreciate you tuning in and keep come back because we're going to talk more about travel. We have a ton of stories from our past that are going to come up, which are very entertaining.
Yes.
So you don't want to miss those.
No,
but yeah, so we're going to finish up, like I said, next episode, Nova Scotia Part 2.
Yes.
We're getting out on the water and
all right,
looking at the other country within a country.
Yes. And so we'll see you next time beyond the buzzer.
Yeah. I'm Kyle.
I'm Josh.
Tune in again.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Peace.